by Riverside.
Hello and welcome back to the SadFan, where we talk about the good, the bad, and everything that made you sad. We have a noticeable absence today. No worries, no fears. She will be back before you know it to keep us smart. But for now, the cat is away, so the children will play. And what the hell is going on with the 49ers, Wes?
I don't know, but I'm here for it because now we're only a half game back in the NFC West. So you know what? Just keep sucking. Granted, Deebo Samuel's out, but I don't think that fully explains it. They lost to Kirk Cousins and the Vikings today.
Yeah, and by we're, Wes means the Seattle Seahawks. If you haven't been watching us long, Wes is a giant Seattle Seahawks fan. We are, unfortunately, this was never my intention, but we are largely a West Coast show. And we continue to talk about the West Coast teams a little bit more, and we apologize for that. It's something we'll
California,
work on.
Oregon, and Washington represented here.
Yeah, but I gotta say, I had Minnesota picked at the beginning of the season. Chelsea had Minnesota picked at the beginning of the season. They're not a bad team. However,
I had the Lions.
Yeah, you did.
Call me Westradamus.
We'll talk about that a little bit later because they got beat up really. They look like the Lions this weekend. Now, what's going on with the Vikings is they don't have Justin Jefferson. And they still went out there and beat what I think is the best defense in the NFL pretty handedly. And it doesn't seem like it, but it came down to Brock Purdy having to make a comeback, which apparently is not what you want.
No, he's looking fallible right now. I mean,
yeah,
all of his games last season, the first 5 games of this season, he looked unbeatable. He looked like a future Hall of Famer, whatever. But he's just looking like an average starting quarterback right now.
Yeah. He looked like Tom Brady 2.0 in this Shanahan offense. And
he looked like Jimmy Garoppolo.
Who knew
in the Raiders?
Who this week on Monday? But who knew that Deebo Samuel might mean so much to that offense, drawing away coverage? Because I didn't think that Deebo Samuel was having a great season in particular, but you never see certain things on the game film that's shown to you on television, right? Like, he must be drawing so much coverage away from Brandon Ayuk and from Christian McCaffrey to where that's just leaving them wide open, because Ayuk before tonight was having a phenomenal season, just killing it. George Kittle must be pulling away coverage as well because he had a great game tonight. Well, not great, but good comparative to what he's been having. And they got beat. They only put up 17 points. They looked unstoppable in the early season.
They're lucky to have 17 points.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Now, you mentioned Seattle's now only a half game back. How about in the absence of DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith and Jigba showed up?
JSN and the guy from UCLA, undrafted rookie, Bobo.
Oh, Bobo did have a game. Bobo did have himself a game.
He had a touchdown last weekend, and he's got a touchdown this weekend. 2 touchdowns on the year.
But let's go on to the other big sport that was happening tonight. There was another big sport happening tonight, baseball. And we got to see who was going to the World Series. Well, at least in the ACLS.
Texas Rangers, the least offensive of the Texas teams.
The one that wasn't pounding trash cans and
the non-cheaters.
The ones that weren't wearing Apple Watches to know what pitches were coming. I don't know. Who knows anymore? This is multi-billion-dollar gladiator sporting events that are occurring before our eyes. And I know in baseball they're not getting physical. It's a non-contact sport. But, that ball was getting contacted by the Texas Rangers the last 2 nights.
Yeah, it was.
But
that grand slam last night.
Yeah, and you and I are kind of talking about this. We're going to talk about this a little bit more when it comes to Michigan. But who cares? Why do I care? Sometimes I look back on how much I cared about something, and I'm like, why did I care about that? Of course they were cheating. Everybody's probably cheating. They just haven't gotten caught yet.
It's just funny that they are resorting to trash cans.
I mean, yeah, but it's funny and prison-esque. Like, and when I say prison-esque, they like found a way to do it. They're like, I gotta sneak in a trash can. Like, that's how we're gonna do this, guys. We're gonna pound on a trash can when we know a fastball's coming. Right?
They're trash throws.
Send smoke signals is what's gonna be next. Can they sneak cigarettes and vapes into the? Maybe they just get everybody in a section and they just vape really hard and send smoke signals up to whoever is batting to see what the next pitch is going to be. Like, who cares is what I'm saying. I want it to be
smoke
silly.
rings.
Yeah, who cares anymore? Like, I can't see myself carrying anymore. And I just think, honestly, in the grand scheme of things, we're going to look back on all of this cheating and go, of course they're cheating. Like, but why do we care so much? Maybe because we feel like our team was robbed. Our team never had a chance. Let's just be honest. I'm an A's fan. I don't know.
But your team's in the same division as the Astros, so
I'm just gonna think that everybody's cheating though. I think the A's are cheating in some way. I think the Mariners are probably cheating in some way. There's all kinds of different advantages that teams have. Like, I think LSU has the away team's football locker room's all pink, I want to say, and like disgusting. Like, every team's doing something for their advantages. Yeah, you might have to fact check me on that, but I think it's LSU's locker room is completely pink for visiting players and visiting teams.
Who was it last year? They were caught like turning down the AC in the visitors' locker room. Yeah, they were like turning off the AC at halftime, and so they're just like baking. I was like, that's kind of screwed up.
Cooking
like,
the other team.
Yeah, like that's kind of
People that were around the Spurs Miami Heat series think that that the San Antonio Spurs were cranking up the heat and turning off the ACs during that series to give LeBron James cramps.
That'd be hilarious.
Like, I think that cheating happens in every single sport, and we should act less shocked that multi-billion-dollar organizations are going to cheat to get ahead, especially in this country. Like, of course it's gonna happen. Like, of course it's gonna happen. And I think we just need to root for our teams to cheat better. Why are we not cheating as well as they're cheating?
Yeah, don't be so obvious about it.
Yeah. Well, so you're very excited the Texas Rangers knocked out the Astros. I am excited as well. I think baseball's not as excited as the Astros have a humongous market, especially since they've been good for the last 3 years. 4 years.
No one cares about them outside of Houston, though.
No, man.
Everyone's tired of them.
People, do you know why
people tune in for a Cinderella story?
No, do you know why people tune into Floyd Mayweather? Like, in all honesty, to watch him lose. They want to watch him lose. That's why he was still drawing crowds when he was fighting nobodies. Is people are hoping that he's going to lose. Well, the Astros and teams that cheat and that we grow to hate, like, we love to hate. Right? You're a giant hater. You're a giant hater. You hate.
I feel like the best, like the highest ratings come from like those, like the times when it's two teams that aren't usually in it and everyone's like, oh yeah, this is gonna be great. Like, we never see these teams. It's a breath of fresh air. Like, no one freaking cares about, like, the Yankees versus the Astros, blah, 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 or whoever. Like,
I wish you were right.
Everyone's so tired of them. Nobody cares.
You were right. But they do still draw the biggest numbers. Now, what's funny is,
I mean, for the smaller games, yeah, for their individual games, when it's only, like, the fan base watching, but, like, when they're on center stage, like, people from, I don't know, like Florida aren't going to give a crap about the Yankees. Like, people from Ohio aren't going to give a crap about the Yankees unless they're
telling you what the
born a
ratings
Yankees
say.
fan.
The ratings.
I'm telling you what the ratings say. During the regular season, yeah, New York gets bigger numbers because they have a big fan base.
Quantifiably, if there's two small markets in the Super Bowl, it actually has lower ratings.
No.
But I refuse to believe that, even though the numbers dictate that I am incorrect. But you know who does show up for bigger ratings or show up to watch games that they don't necessarily want to? Swifties. And they showed up again, and it was again one of the higher rated games, Chiefs against Chargers. I gotta say, I'm tired of the super fan girl and I hate to do that, but honestly, here's why. I'm not upset about her shine. I'm not upset about her fandom. I don't care if she's a plant from the NFL. But what I'm irritated is that you're highlighting another wealthy woman that is going to these games in the front row, and there are fans like her all across the United States for their team that just go crazy, that live and die by their team. And for some reason, you've chosen to highlight this individual that is wealthy and has more means to go to games and sit in the front row of Kansas City versus San Diego.
Because she brings in more
Los
viewers and
Angeles.
more money.
No. They could have done this with any fan, is what I was trying to say. They could have done this with any fan, any fan base. You don't think Seattle has a young lady that's just like this young lady? Of course they do. You don't think Las Vegas has a young lady that's just like, of course they do. So I don't know what went into the decision making. You could say, oh, a random camera guy caught her. Sure, whatever. Who cares? What I'm saying is enough. With that, I don't know. Stop forcing certain things that I think a majority of the nation that a majority of the nation really doesn't care about, unlike how we feign anger at the evil empires in sports. But we really don't care about.
It's not feigned anger, that's real.
About other fans.
Better.
About other fans. Like, Wes, you are just like that woman. Did you know that? When you actually get into a game, like what you do here, the person you portray here is usually rational and sane. But I've been with you watching a Seattle Seahawks game. I've been with you watching an Oregon game. You are unreasonable. I've seen you pace. I've seen you throw things at the ground. Like, you are just like this woman, okay? And I am. And I'm aware of that. Like, you can get me. The Raiders are actually the only team that really gets me there. But this weekend, I just sat on my couch and laughed. I just laughed. Like, legitimately. The game was on early for me. It was a 6 p.m. game for me. And I just laughed. Legitimately, the entire game I watched, and I just cackled. Like, I was just like, of course this is happening. Like, of course, like 30-6. Yes, I saw this coming. I've been saying this for 2 years. Wes, whether our audience wants to recognize it or not, you predicted this 2 years ago with the Raiders. Predicted this 2 years ago. You said he's going to be a terrible head coach. He's going to be awful. Mm-hmm. He was bad with the Broncos, and he's going to be bad with the Raiders. And I always, despite what our audience thinks, give them a chance. But within 3 games, I was like, he's out. He's bad. He's not a good head coach.
I mean, you were trashing Josh McDaniels when they hired him too. I mean, you might have been a little more nice about it than I was, but yeah. I'm sorry, but losing to the Bears by 18 points is
right. It's Tyson Badgley was the quarterback's name from Division 2.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, because Fields is hurt.
Yeah, Division 2 undrafted starter. Patrick Graham couldn't prep for that.
Yeah, what's his name? Tyson Bagent?
Yeah, Bagent. I said Badgley. Bagent.
Who the flying is this guy? I've never heard that name in my life.
Yeah, he's Division 2.
And I watch college football more than I watch NFL, so I should have heard of this guy.
Well, you didn't because he's Division 2 undrafted. And he's from the Chicago area. He had 65 family members at this game. 65 family members at this game. And
he looks like a frat bro.
He does look like a frat bro, but he couldn't make it into a frat because he wasn't good enough. But he beat the Raiders. He was good enough to beat the Raiders. And they looked terrible.
I'm just lost at how this guy from D2 school managed to get picked up as an undrafted free agent.
He walked on. He tried out for the team, man.
Good for him.
I think he beat out PJ Walker for that spot, who just went to Cleveland and became the backup quarterback in Cleveland. We're going to talk about the Colts game here in just a second, but that being said, look, there's a lot of Raiders fans that are doing a about face right now on Josh McDaniels, and shut up. Like, I'm sorry, like, you guys gave me so much trash on Twitter X about what I was saying and the things that I was called armchair GM, told I didn't know what I was talking about, and now you all want to have this bullshit outrage. Like, shut up, dude. Go sit in it.
I think Rich Bisaccia is free.
They need to sit in it for at least a year. They need to sit in those Raiders fans that want to give everybody, oh, well, you just don't have any faith. Oh, well, they're trying to build something here. No, they're not. I said this all off season. They have no idea what they're doing. Josh McDaniels and Ziegler are just dum-dums. They just are. They're the dumbest tandem in all of sports. All sports.
I think this episode needs to be the angry fan.
But the truth is, Ziegler doesn't know what he's doing.
Fine.
Ziegler doesn't know what he's doing. Josh McDaniels doesn't know how to coach a team. He was just blessed with having Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. And come on, get over it already. Mark Davis, he can't afford to get rid of him, so we just have to watch the games every Sunday and laugh at the product that's being put on the field. All right? And I don't want to hear that Mark Davis is a bad owner because Las Vegas Aces have now won back-to-back titles. He's an amazing basketball team in Las Vegas, and he's got an amazing head coach. Mark Davis has taken big swings. John Gruden was a huge swing that didn't work out because Mike Mayock and John Gruden were Dave Ziegler and Josh McDaniels. They don't know how to pick players. They didn't know what team to put on the field. They didn't have a good defense. There was no secondary, okay? And that's what's happening right now. So Raiders fans, sit in this and cackle. Just laugh at every single game. We can't afford to fire Josh McDaniels. There's just not enough money in this franchise. We're cash poor. But
you know what's going to happen?
What's that?
So Brady purchased a minority share of the Raiders, right?
Yes, I know.
So I think what's going to happen is the Patriots are going to can Bill Belichick at the end of the season.
Him to an extension.
And the Raiders they're going to can him, and the Raiders are going to pick him up. They
just signed him to an extension.
No. Raiders are going to pick him up.
Bill
Belichick's going to be your new coach.
Anyway, so ignorance aside and not willing to be listened to aside.
That doesn't mean anything. If he loses the rest of his games, they're canning him.
It's pretty lucrative from what I understand. Now, Dolphins and Eagles was the big game of Sunday, right? And it kind of was disappointing, but we got to see that I think the Dolphins are actually for real. There was some referee stuff, is what we'll call it, occurring in that game. And the Dolphins didn't have a secondary. Go ahead, Wes.
I mean, there's always going to be bad calls in every game. I don't think that makes up for the Dolphins getting smacked around by the Eagles.
Do you feel like the uniforms that the Eagles wore were a bad call, or did you like the Kelly Greens?
I do like the Kelly Greens.
Yeah, I thought they were nice too. People were hating on them outside of Philly, but I was like, I don't know why either. I was actually like, you know what? I'm sorry. These uniforms are pretty dope. Like, you could be mad, but they look good. Like, throwbacks look good, especially when they're evolved throwbacks. Like, when they're, because here's the thing. Yeah, you were right. In the moment, they weren't as good. But it's crazy to think that years later, technology's evolved and we could really make these uniforms pop on screen like they do. And the Kelly Greens look good.
I'm excited. When the Seahawks play the Browns, we're going throwbacks.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And then did you see the Dolphins throwbacks coming up for this weekend?
No, I haven't seen those.
Tennessee Titans are going to wear the Oilers throwbacks this weekend. Yeah,
those are going to look dope.
Which look great.
It's so dumb that it took the NFL so long to add a secondary helmet rule.
Yeah.
It's like you can only have like one like brand of helmet or like one design of helmet. It's like, shut the hell up. Why? That's so dumb.
It's dumb also
taking all the fun.
You sell, not just that, you sell more merchandise. Also, stop fanning people for celebrations. Die already. Like, seriously.
Just let them celebrate. Let them have fun.
Like, enough already. Like,
thanks
the
a lot,
Maras
boomers.
in New York. The Maras in New York are so irritating. And not the generation, but just the people that won't let us have fun. Like, can we just have fun? We're pushing ourselves towards the end of the earth here in the next 50 years. Can we just have fun the last 50? You guys have destroyed the planet. You've destroyed the money, the economic systems on Earth. Like, can we just have fun with sports? And can you not take that too? Or can we please be allowed to celebrate when you physically fight and run through 11 300-pound men to score a touchdown? Can they please celebrate that moment?
Right? No, that's their job.
Yeah, right. With all that being said, how'd you feel about the Colts uniforms on Sunday?
I did not see those.
So check those out. For me, I thought they looked like Duke. I did. I was like, lots of people were very into the helmets, it was an all black matte helmet with the blue horseshoe. But I was looking at those uniforms, I was like, they kind of look like Duke to me as I was looking at
What?
them. That's your first time seeing the Colts uniform?
The Indiana Knights jerseys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do
Yeah,
you
that's.
do you agree they kind of look like Duke?
Yeah, they do.
That's what the first thought that popped into my head when I was watching the Colts games. I was like, they look like Duke. They look exactly like Duke.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, Duke's got the black helmets with the blue stripe.
Yeah. I don't. Now here's the thing. I don't want to leave out the Giants helmets. The Giants throwback helmets were dope too. I thought they looked fantastic. Those dark blue with the dark blue Giants with the white trim. I thought those helmets were awesome. A little bit of red trim on there as well. They look great as well.
Well, while
Now,
we're talking about it, University of Washington played with. They debuted purple chrome helmets against Arizona State,
well, they really
and
paid off.
yeah, I mean they did. They played a great game against Arizona State. Let me tell
Created
you,
all kinds of offense with those helmets.
so good. All
What were you gonna say
0
about-
offensive touchdowns.
What were you going to say about the fans?
The fans. What fans?
Yeah, you said fans of that uniform. Fans thought what?
Oh,
When it
oh
came
yeah.
to,
Fans are like, nope, get rid of them, burn them in the trash. Never want to see them again. Never.
They missed the chrome, huh?
It's bad.
All right. So here's what I was going to say about Taylor Swift as we go back. I would consider myself a Swiftie. I very much enjoy Taylor Swift's music. I think she's fun. I will watch all of her Capital One commercials on Sunday. However,
Which era are you a fan of?
So anyway, I enjoy Taylor Swift and I love the NFL. But for some reason, like, it was a fun novelty, but when we keep smashing them together and jamming them down our throat, and even Scott Hansen said something about this on his Twitter account, like, oh, well, blah, 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 we never miss a game, we're just having fun. And I'm like, yeah, but it's been like 3 weeks now. I'm like, do we still care? I guess is the question I'm getting at.
I stopped
Well,
caring.
you were over it after week 1, Wes. You were over it after the first week of the Taylor Swift saga. You didn't like it anymore.
I'm happy for Travis Kelce that he's getting it with Taylor, but
I wish you would have phrased that differently. But what I was gonna say is I don't need to see the secret handshake between Brittany Mahomes and Taylor Swift in my football game. Like, I don't care. I don't care if my mom and my sister have a secret handshake. I'm not gonna watch it. I don't care.
Just like I don't need to see what Jackson Mahomes is doing. I don't care about what's happening in the stands, really.
I was shocked that he was out of jail, to be honest. I was like, oh, he's out of jail. How about that?
I didn't know he was in jail. How about that?
Someone did a thing that was like bold move allowing Jackson Mahomes this close to Taylor Swift. And they had a picture of them that was the funniest Taylor Swift moment of the weekend. Was that tweet? Is someone had a picture of Jackson Mahomes standing behind Taylor Swift in the press box and just said bold move putting Jackson Mahomes this close to Taylor Swift. It was really funny. Now, Alabama won again, and they beat a good Tennessee team. I think they're going to sneak back into the playoffs because of the two teams that they're competing with. So after the Ohio State-Penn State game, James Franklin came out, and not only did he trash his own players by saying they couldn't get separation, and it's their fault. Had nothing to do with your shitty coaching, James, and your terrible calls. And your inability to be I think he's 0-7 or something against Ohio State. Some crazy record against Ohio State for James Franklin. You're bad.
Why should he take credit? He's not the one playing.
He's the one coaching, and he made some terrible
He's not
calls.
The one playing. No, the players screwed up the place. It's not his fault.
I love the bit you're doing right now, but coming out after you this is the week following you trashing a reporter for saying just air it out. Like, screw it. Just tell your quarterback to throw the ball. What's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to intercept it. Do it on a 3rd and long. It's just a punt, And he had this like brain aneurysm, and he went off on the reporter like, "Oh my God, you're making me sick right now. I can't even think about it." And again, he was taking what the reporter was saying like kind of out of context. But I can't dictate what James Franklin's perception of that question was, right? I don't know. How he perceived that question is how he perceived that question. But what I'm getting at is, James Franklin, you're terrible. That's all I want to say. Like, you good job coaching Vanderbilt up and not winning anything there. You got a Vanderbilt team to 9 wins one time, I think. And who cares?
I disagree. I think he's actually a pretty good coach. He's not
Really?
not
What do you
great.
have
He's
to,
not a
what evidence do
Harbaugh.
you
He's
have?
not
What
a
evidence do you
Saban. He's
have?
not a Harbaugh.
But what evidence do you have?
The track record for Penn State over the last several years, they're
What
pretty
is it?
freaking good.
But never good enough?
How many teams wish they could get 9 and 10 wins every year?
Yeah, but Penn State is one of the best college football teams. Like, they're a legacy team. They can't. You can't go. No, you can't beat up on Minnesota, Iowa. No. Stop.
Even with Paterno, they were never that.
No, stop.
No.
You cannot beat up on Minnesota.
Joe Paterno was trash for the last decade.
You cannot beat up on Minnesota, Indiana, Illinois, Purdue, and call yourself a good football coach. You have to beat Michigan State. You have to beat Michigan. You have to beat Ohio State. And he can't. Well, now.
Okay, no, that's like trying to judge every SEC coach because they couldn't beat Nick frickin' Saban. Like, you want to know how many good quality SEC coaches were fired because they couldn't beat Saban?
LSU beat Saban.
A lot.
Yeah, of course. But he's not going anywhere. But you have to do it once? One time? In 7 years? That's too much. This Ohio State team sucks. They've got Marvin Harrison Jr. That's
this
who they
Ohio
have.
State team sucks? Really?
Yes.
Then why are they ranked in the top 4, top 5?
Oh, let's talk about how much you believe in the
tell me how much you believe in the team.
Tell me about how much you believe in the ranking system, Wes. Tell me, no, seriously, they. I mean,
I'll tell you right now.
Correctly every year, right?
I'll tell you right now. Ohio State's probably a top 5 team. I mean, they almost beat. They were like a play away from beating Georgia last year in the playoffs.
Last year is not this year, so don't ever do that again. Well, last year, this Ohio State team, no, it's a totally different team, so stop. But also,
really?
They would lose to Georgia. They would lose
it's
to
75%
Alabama.
the same freaking team. They would
lose to Tennessee. They would lose to Oklahoma. They would lose to Texas.
Penn State would beat
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Lose to Michigan. I've just named 5 teams. Hold on. Do you want me to keep going? They would lose to Florida State. They would probably lose to Clemson. They would probably lose to Miami.
Ohio State would smash Florida State. Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you. Florida State would roll.
Florida State sucks. The ACC is garbage. Florida State sucks.
Ohio State is bad.
Florida State's barely top 10.
This is a weird heel turn you've taken to become a
Florida
Ohio
State
fan.
Florida State has played trash schools. I am the least from an Ohio State fan.
Well,
I freaking hate them. I freaking hate them.
Team. They don't have a good quarterback at all. Their running back was.
Who have they lost to? Nobody.
Who have they beat?
They beat Notre Dame. They beat Penn State.
Do you think Notre Dame's a great team? I think
they beat Notre Dame. They beat Penn State. They beat 2 ranked teams.
Independent.
They beat 2 ranked teams.
Okay, BCS.
That's more than Oregon has.
No, it's cool. You're the computer. I'm going to remind you of this every single year now, moving forward. That you can't tell the difference between a good team and a bad team. So when Michigan rolls them 35-7, which is what's going to happen in that game because Michigan's filming the sidelines and we've run out of time, I'm going to remind you of this moment. And they're going to lose in their bowl game. No, they're bad.
No.
Ohio State's put a terrible. They were bad against Maryland. They were bad against Indiana. They're not a good football team.
I'm so glad you're not a college scout.
Okay. I'm going to be right again.
Just like you were right about CJ Stroud.
What has he done?
I'm pretty sure you apologized like 2 weeks ago for how wrong you were about CJ Stroud.
I think what I said was I might be wrong and I might have to apologize. It's a long season, Wes. I don't know if you heard.
That's about the most out of an apology we're going to get from you.
It's an 18-week season, so we'll see. He's also on the Texans, so you, Mr. John Haidt, having a little faith over there. We'll see. But he's blessed to be in the AFC South, Wes. Like, what more do you need than that? So anyway, everyone, we appreciate you tuning in each and every week. We got to end this show there. We are out of time. Please remember you can get us at the SadFan Podcast Network. You can reach us wherever you get your podcasts. You could handle us on Twitter at the SadFan 12 or the SadFan cast. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you next week.